Raiders with a 17-13 lead on the Buffalo Bills. Raiders had the ball most of the first half. Marv Albert with Paul McGuire back at Ritz Stadium, where I should report, Paul, it is now -1 degree. The wind chill factor at about -26.
I know that.
Just want to cheer you up a little bit.
I know that, but I'll tell you what else is big. Is that missed extra point. You know, when you look at Christie on this missed extra point and nothing happened. This ball was down. Everything was fine. He just pushed it off to the right. You know, now you had a 4-point game instead of a 3-point game. Everything was fine. Now here it is. Take a look at the hold. Frank Reich is the holder. He gets the ball down, gets it turned, missed.
Okay, and instead of a 3-point game, it is a 4-point spread at this point. As you are well aware, if you've been with us right from the start, we have double coverage on the sidelines this afternoon. Let's go downstairs to O.J. Simpson and Chris Collinsworth. Guys?
Well, in talking to the Raiders when they went in, obviously they were quite satisfied with the first half. I asked Tim Brown, why aren't you throwing the ball downfield? He says, we don't have to. Offensive coach Terry Rabitsky said we knew we can run on them in the first game that we played against them. Everything is going to where we're going. We have a good feeling that we can push them around, and we're going to continue to try to do that in the second half, Chris.
Yeah, Juice, you really hit on the key. I talked to defensive coordinator Walt Corey for the Buffalo Bills, and he said that in that first half we tried to play them with a 7-man front. We could not stop the running game. In the second half, we're going to almost exclusively with the 8-man front. They have to stop the running game in order to win this football game. Okay. Gentlemen?
All right, thank you, Chris and O.J. And right here, let's take a look at the Coors Light halftime statistics. And that running game for the Raiders certainly prominent. 98 yards in the first half. The Bills with only 14.
Yeah, but you take a look at it down the total yardage. 98 yards rushing for the Raiders and 102 total yards. That's only 4 more yards than a rushing yardage. So the Buffalo Bills really have to stop the run because the run sets up this pass. Now, the only Tim Brown is the only wide receiver with any catches. He has 2 of them for, I think, a total of 17 yards. And there's 1 turnover in the ball game which led to a touchdown.
Yes, the other receivers have been quiet. James Jett, Alexander Wright have not seen the football. The Los Angeles Raiders, 10-6 in the regular season. They won 5 of the last 6 games. Buffalo Bills won their last 4 after losing 2 in a row. They won 12-4 in regular season play, taking their 5th AFC East title in 6 years. Copeland and Beebe are the deep men for the Bills. And Jaeger getting set to approach. Jeff Jaeger in his 6th season from the University of Washington.
If the wind is a factor, that means the Raiders will have the wind in the 4th quarter of this ball game. And I think that's what they wanted. We have no idea what the delay is. Red Cash is looking around. Just put your arm up, Red. Let's get it on.
Yes, waiting for the whistle, which will lead to Jaeger making his move. The indication by Red Cashin, and the second half is underway. Another short kick taken by Don Beebe. All right, a look at the quarterbacks in the first half. Hostetler, 8 of 12, 115 yards. Kelly, who was not on the field for a very long period of time, 10 of 12 for 95 yards.
And just think about it. All of this thing is all done in real short passing. Now, here's the running game. Here's the difference. Thurman Thomas, 14 yards. Napoleon McCallum, 15 carries, 45 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Buffalo Bills from the 25-yard line. Kelly taking a long look and going deep. It was almost intercepted. Lionel Washington, the right corner in front of Don Beebe, had a crack at it.
This is the first long pass we saw. Now, Kelly, play action pass, rolls out on a bootleg, and look at Washington, 48. I mean, that is just outstanding coverage. Can't hold on to the football, but he had position on the play. Here it comes. There's Washington. Beebe had no chance. Second down.
2nd and 10 from the 26-yard line. It's Thomas Thurman Thomas for a short pickup. A little slow to get up.
2-yard gain.
He got hit in the head. It looks, you know, he might have got a finger in his eye. They're in that hurry-up offense. He's all right.
3rd down and 8. Sideline pattern for the first down. Bill Brooks hooking up with Jim Kelly, covered by Torrin Dorn, and it is a first down for Buffalo.
First down.
Well, you take a look at the Bills in the first half, and they gave it up on downs. They went for it on fourth down situation. Look, they only had one other than the 10-play drive. The 4-play drive was on a pass interference. They ended up with a touchdown.
All right, Kelly from the shotgun, able to dump it off on the screen for Thomas. Another Buffalo first down. Derek Hoskins, Mike Jones combined to make the stop. It's a 17-yard advance.
We talked about at the beginning of the game the way to get the ball to Thurman Thomas is hand it off to him on draws, and again here on screens. He just sets up. They let Thurman Thomas. I can't believe that there's someone out there covering with him. Parker, 74, gets a good block, and Thurman Thomas gets the ball in Raider territory.
And Kenneth Davis now in the backfield, takes the handoff. Davis came on for Thomas. A minute and 40 gone by in the 3rd quarter. Raiders 17 and the Bills 13. 6 weeks ago, Bills and Raiders met here in Buffalo, and the Raiders won 25-24. Kelly again with a toss out to Brooks. And Lionel Washington provided the coverage.
Brooks trying to run with the ball before he gets it, and he wouldn't have had the first down because Washington was there. Here's the pass, perfect. He sets up. Watch this. He's looking. You see his head turned to the left. He's looking for Washington. He's looking for a way to run to make a fake. You have to concentrate on the football.
It brings up a 3rd down and 7. Again, it's Davis in the backfield. And Kelly completes for the first down to Metzelar. The middle linebacker Joe Kelly with the reps on the 6'7" tight end Pete Metzelar.
Big target, and all Pete Metzelar does, he goes down, sees the first down marker, gets rid of the linebacker. Look at him, he sets up. He's a big target, claps his hands. Kelly hits him right on target, and he holds on to the football.
4th catch, 38 yards for Metzelar. Thurman Thomas is back, takes the swing pass. Thomas works his way inside the 30. Tackled by Dorn.
Jim Kelly going back, and it's all short stuff. The long pass he tried to get to Beebe was almost intercepted. Now here's a little slip screen to the outside. That's Kent Hall, number 67, the center, getting out and making the block. And Thurman Thomas picking up about 6.
2nd down play. Now Thomas on the rush. Nolan Harrison, the right defensive tackle, made the stop. Short pickup for Thomas, who during the regular season rushed for 1,315 yards to lead the AFC. His 5th consecutive 1,000-yard season. 5 straight, tying our man O.J. Simpson's Buffalo Bills franchise record. 3rd and 2. Thomas lost his balance and then was taken down by the right defensive end, Greg Townsend, and short of the first down.
This crowd wants them to go for it, but they're going to go for the field goal. They do have the wind at their back. The field goal will be about 42 yards, and with the wind, 43 maybe. I think Thurman Thomas might have picked up that first down and he not slipped.
It is a 43-yard attempt by Christie. High snap, handled by Wright. Christie's kick. No good. The Raiders maintain the 4-point lead. Well, it's been a rough day for the Buffalo kicker. Steve Christie missed an extra point earlier, and right here missed from 43 yards out on the field goal attempt.
Well, you take a look at it, it's all down, everything's perfect. He just hooks this thing, and the wind does blow on this field from right to left across, and that's what he got caught doing.
Raiders start from their 25-yard line. Montgomery with nowhere to go. Tyrone Montgomery hit down by Darryl Talley. Loss of 3. Well, it'll be a 2nd and 13.
Now look at the possessions, the difference in the number of plays. That's what you look at along with the scores. There's a missed field goal, a field goal, 2 touchdowns. But look at the number. They only had it one time, 3 plays and out, and they had to punt. Only one. They had 5 plays on the other one when they punted.
Now Montgomery is split wide to the left. Hostetler with the time. And he ran out of time and completes. Terrific play. Alexander Wright making the catch. It's good for 25, his first reception of the game. However, a penalty marker is down.
It's against the Raiders. They're saying illegal man downfield. Now Hostetler, watch this. He gets out of everything, moves over, and then he finds Alexander Wright for the first down, but they're going to bring this back.
Ineligible man downfield. Number 68 on the offense. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Number 68 is the right tackle. He's up here, and that's Wilkerson. You'll see what happens here. Hostetler, the blocking, he's out on Cornelius Bennett, number 97. How does he get downfield? He's blocking. How can he be downfield? It's Max Montoya, number 65, not 68. You'll say that's going to be tough to be downfield when you're 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
It's a 2nd and 18, and Hostetler goes short range. Montgomery tried to weave his way out of traffic, but could not. Met by the combination of Phil Hansen and Jeff Wright.
What the Buffalo Bills are doing now is what Chris Collingsworth talked about, getting 8 men up on the line of scrimmage and now forcing you to throw the ball downfield. And everybody is in position to make the play. They had to do one thing at halftime, the adjustment being made to stop Napoleon McCallum from running the football and the Raiders from running the football. But take a look at all of these guys who are up on the line of scrimmage. Here they come. The linebackers are set inside. Now the screen, when he goes to the outside, Cornelius Bennett makes an outstanding play, forces Montgomery back to the inside, and Jeff Wright makes the play.
3rd down and 21 to go from the 14. Hostetler stepping up, goes the middle, and has Brown. He coughs it up, but he's ruled down. It is short of the 1st down.
It just looked like Hostetler had all day to decide whoever he wanted to throw the ball to. And he eventually gets it to Brown, but he's not far enough downfield. Brown has to come back. Watch Hostetler slip it to his left. Cornelius Bennett finally comes into his face, but Brown is there. He makes the catch. He's on the ground, and then the ball comes out. Brown, catch, hit, down, ball's out. Good call.
And Jeff Gossett will punt from his 20. Russell Copeland let it go. It is only a 33-yard punt. Buffalo will go back to the offense when we return. Leading to many unkind critiques written and said about Jim and his team and even the city of Buffalo. We asked Jim for his reaction to those critical shots.
We're winners. I mean, how many teams can say that they consistently do what we've done each season? I mean, when you finish at the top, you got to play the top schedule in the league, and year after year after year, we're still right there in the thick of things. And I've kept some of those smart comments by some people, and hopefully I'll be able to read them one day, but we'll take care of business first.
Well, as you watch Jim Kelly complete to Thurman Thomas, he relates that he has kept his own little personal file of critical newspaper clips.
And he'll let him know about it when he's all done. But, you know, Jim Kelly that time when he made a great read, Howie Long was in his face. He makes a great read and gets the ball out to Thurman Thomas.
It's a pickup of 7. 2nd down and 3. Inside handoff for Thomas. Goes to the outside. And has nowhere to go.
Well, the one thing that you talk about the Buffalo Bills, though, you think about it, this is their 97th game in 4 years. They've played more games in 4 years than anybody in National Football League history. And the thing about them is they have a chance to go to 4 straight Super Bowls, and they still get knocked by the press. That's what they don't like.
7:20 remaining in this third quarter. And the Bills down 17-13. A floater thrown by Kelly up high. Got away from him. It was intended for Bill Brooks.
Jim Kelly coming off laughing because he knew he had Brooks open, and he had him there for the first down. The ball just got away from him. And that's one of those things I was telling you before, you know, when the quarterbacks, their hands are cold, they have that kind of touch. You've got to make sure the ball gets there.
So Chris Moore will punt to Tim Brown. He's very dangerous, Tim Brown. It's a line drive. One hop by Brown, and what a tackle.
Steve Tasker
is met by Steve Tasker following the 39-yard punt.
Mutual respect. Watch this. Tasker makes a tackle. Watch Brown. He points to him. Nice tackle, man. Nice tackle. That's respect. They shake hands and help each other up. Isn't that nice?
Paul, sportsmanship at its very best.
That's like you and me right after the game.
Absolutely.
I try to shake hands and you leave without shaking hands.
I usually walk away.
I know you do. You walk away.
Raiders
had to do a basketball game somewhere.
With a 17-13 lead on the Bills. 7 minutes remaining. In this third quarter, Hostetler having difficulty audibilizing. McCallum. Oh, what a second effort by Napoleon. McCallum. The Bills thought they had him on that first burst, and finally Darryl Talley and Mark Kelso were able to bring him down.
This is what you have when you have the 7 men up front or 8 men up front to stop McCallum. Jeff Wright, number 91, is the man that misses. He hits him right there. McCallum spins and picks up 8.5 yards on the play. That's why they have this defense. They want to be up in the line of scrimmage to force them to run the football or force them to throw the ball. Here they are again. Look at the guys up front.
Second and a long one. McCallum, once again, very difficult to bring down, but he is brought down short of a first down. Mark Maddox made the stop.
Well, with Chris Collingsworth, when he was talking to the coach, about to take a look at, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys right up here in the line of scrimmage, and it's very difficult to run the football. And we'll see it here. They don't. The linebackers are flying. Maddox is there. Half-yard gain.
McCallum has run 17 times for 55 yards. It's a third down and 1. The tight end Horton in motion. McCallum is stopped.
Well, if they mark it there, he doesn't make it.
It appears he's short of the first down.
He's going to have to get an awfully good mark to get a first down on this. It's got to be 4th down on the play. That forces the Raiders to punt the ball. And when you take a look at this, you talk about 8 men up there. Watch all the guys that eventually end up on this line of scrimmage. Here they come. They're all up in there. Pete couldn't help that time.
So Jeff Gossett will punt for the 4th time this afternoon. Russell Copeland is back. And Copeland comes up to take it at the 41. It's only a 29-yard punt. 5:04 to go in the third. Reminder, tomorrow starting 3:30 Eastern time right here on NBC. The AFC Divisional Playoffs will continue. Joe Montana and his Kansas City Chiefs going up against Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers. Back in week 2 in Houston, Joe Montana sidelined by injury. Dave Craig, the starting quarterback, he was sacked 4 times. 5 Kansas City turnovers, a 30-0 victory for Houston. Buddy Ryan hoping for more of the same tomorrow. Meanwhile, Kelly on the run, completes to Reed for a Buffalo first down.
Andre Reed makes a great move. He comes downfield and just gets rid of the defensive back and gets himself out into the right. Andre Reed coming down, goes to the inside and moves back outside, and there he is. He's wide open. Kelly with the ball right on target.
It's a 20-yard pickup. Remember, in that earlier meeting here in Buffalo against the Raiders, Reed hurt his elbow and was not a factor. Just under 5 minutes to go. Third quarter. Big hole for Thurman Thomas.
Moss is going to get himself in trouble. He just hit Pete Metzelaars, number 99. He got Metzelaars for holding him. Winston Moss, just hit him in both shoulders. He says to the referee, "Will somebody take a look at this guy? He's holding me."
Thomas going for 6. Second down and 4. And Kelly completes to Metzelaars for the first down. Derek Hoskins on the tackle.
Remember what Marv Levy told us yesterday? He said, we told our players, don't get intimidated by the Raiders. If they want to retaliate and do some things, let them go ahead and do it. Walk away. There will be another day.
But it is always difficult to walk away.
It really is.
Thomas, breaking tackle. Mike Jones made the stop. Both coaches said the same. Art Shell also telling us yesterday that obviously he wants the intimidation factor going, but he does not want to get players thrown out, and Marv Levy made that point in a very strong fashion, urging his players not to get involved.
Yeah, just don't get involved. And if things are said, you can have a war of words if you'd like.
Second down and 7. Kelly with the time. Touchdown, Bill Brooks.
Can stay with Billy Brooks that long. Jim Kelly had all the time to throw the football. That offensive line gave him plenty of time. He just waited for Bill Brooks to get by Torndorn and number 46 and makes the play.
The Buffalo Bills have come from behind to take the lead, and Christie's extra point was blocked. Christie, who missed once during the regular season, late in the season against Miami, has had 2 extra points that have gone astray.
This one right up the middle, and somebody jumped up. This ball never cleared the line of scrimmage because this was blocked at the line of scrimmage. I think it was number 84, John Duff, who was a tight end. Watch in the middle of the field. Number 84 goes up in the air. This ball doesn't clear the line. I don't know if that would have made it anyway. Might have gone underneath the crossbar. Here it comes. John Duff, number 84, goes up at the line of scrimmage. Look where he blocks this ball. That ball hit him in the face.
And John Duff goes 6'7", 250 pounds. Darryl Talley can't believe it.
Yeah, but he knows they're still ahead, so that's okay.
The Bills now lead 19-17. 5 plays, 60 yards in a minute and 41, capped off by Kelly combining with Brooks.
All right, watch this. He's got Torndorn. Now, remember, if you look at it here, Kelly's got all the time in the world to throw the ball. Brooks runs a little hitch and go. Kelly has all the time. Torndorn not there. Watch how much time Kelly has. He waits, he waits, he waits, and there's really no pressure on him. He just gets the ball downfield. Credit the offensive line and the great pass route by Bill Brooks.
And for Bill Brooks, his first career postseason touchdown. The Buffalo Bills 19, the Los Angeles Raiders 17 with 3:23 to go in the third. Ismail and Galt are back for the kickoff. Taken by Rocket Ismail. Not able to reach out to the 25. The tackle by Thomas Smith. First-round draft pick, the rookie from North Carolina. Check that, it was James Williams on the stop. And so, the Raiders to the offense. from the 23-yard line.
You can take all those stats in the first half and throw them away. They don't mean anything. Look at the Buffalo Bills on the scoring drive. 5 plays, 60 yards, and it took them 1 minute and 41. This team, the Buffalo Bills, you watch them year after year, they are never out of a ball game.
Play action. Hostetler had to go short range. That's the big tight end, John Duff, who blocked that extra point, making his first catch of the season.
Bruce Smith is going up against Perry, number 71. Here's Bruce Smith also getting Ethan Horton, getting some help, the double team on the outside. But the play action pass by Hostetler on the play is the thing that made it. That's what Bruce Smith is mad about. All right, you got me, I stopped, and then you give me a little shot at the end.
2nd down and 6. McCallum fumbled it. The Bills have recovered. Well, Bruce Smith got a piece of it, and Henry Jones comes out of the pile with the ball.
See, I thought the first play that the Raiders came up with the play action pass and throwing the ball was a smart play that freezes the defensive line and linebacker. Now to line up again on the 2nd down and long and try to run directly at an 8-man front is crazy. Here comes Bruce Smith, number 78. They got a tight end blocking on him. He just reaches in and pulls the ball out. Also, Jeff Wright, number 91, the tackle, gets his hand in there, and Jones ends up with the ball. The Bills have it at the 30.
BB to the left, Brooks to the right, back to the ground, and a hole for Thurman Thomas. He gets inside the 25. Terry McDaniel and Eddie Anderson combined on the stop. He went for 7, 2nd and 3 at the 23. We come up on 2 minutes to go. 3rd quarter, Buffalo has come from behind. They lead 19-17, and look like Howie Long jumping.
Howie's talking to Kent. You move the ball, I'm jumping, I'm moving. He goes back and drills. They don't have enough time. That's what they call unimpeded.
Before the ball was snapped, encroachment, number 75, 5 yards, first down.
There it is, first down. I'll tell you, here comes Howie Long. He's real quick, and if they have time to blow the whistle, they would to keep him from getting Kelly. But actually, Howie Long grabbed Kelly. Kelly goes down. Howie Long tried to hold him up, but he was offside. First down, 20-yard line, or inside the 20.
Buffalo first down at the 18. Thomas. Nice moves by Thurman. Thomas. Winston Moss on the stop.
Totally different. Here's Napoleon McCallum watching. He's the guy that fumbled, but totally different. Now here's the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills taking total control of the defensive line of the Raiders. The Raiders are going to have to do something. Either they're going to have to bring those linebackers up and start filling holes, or do some blitzing, which they don't normally do.
2nd down and 4. Fina and Ballard at the tackles. Parker, Davis at the guards. Hull is the center. Kelly looking end zone. Kelly throwing. Crowd wanted a flag. Andre Reed covered by Derek Hoskins, and Reed slipped and went down.
What happened on this defense is Kelly called an audible because he saw on the outside with Reed in the slot, there was nobody in the middle of the field. Take a look down in here, there's nobody there. Now Kelly goes back, and that's where he wants Reed. But Hoskins wouldn't let him inside. So Reed goes in and tries to make a move, and he slips. Hoskins was there.
From the 12, 3rd down and 4. Kelly's pass is broken up. Double coverage. Lionel Washington got a piece of it.
The huge collision was between Metzelars and Beebe, and Metzelars is down. They ran into each other. The defensive guys were there, but Metzelars and Beebe were downfield. Dixon and Washington were down there, but they run into each other. They're going to have to take a timeout here. In the middle of the field, Metzelars, hold us for a second, can you guys? Here's Metzelars, and here comes Beebe, and they're going to collide right here. Whoa. Here it comes. Metzelars is the guy that takes the beating. There's Beebe going down, and they hit each other. The Raiders had nothing to do with it.
It's a 4th down and 4 at the 12, which will lead to a 30-yard field goal attempt by Steve Christie, who has had a very long afternoon. 2 missed extra points. 1 was blocked. He missed from 43 yards out in a field goal attempt. Steve Christie, a guy who's hit from 59. That was back in week 3 against Miami. For the season, 23 of 32. He dropped off late in the season, although in the Bills' last game, he did hit 3 out of 4, including a 49-yarder. Frank Reich will hold. It is good. The Bills extend to a 22-17 lead with 59 seconds remaining in the 3rd.
McCallum's fumble. Bruce Smith strips the ball along with Jeff Wright. But I tell you one thing I think the Raiders must do. That's go back to play-action passes.
A reminder, next Saturday, NBC Sports will be at Madison Square Garden in New York. Hockey's all-time leading scorer, Wayne Gretzky of the LA Kings, the hottest young player in the game, Philadelphia Flyer Eric Lindros, and 2-time league MVP Mark Messier of the New York Rangers. Some of the marquee players will be on hand. Paul, that's the NHL All-Star Game live from Madison Square Garden next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time right here on NBC.
I have nothing planned for that day. I cannot wait to see Sheldon Canagieser skating again.
You are very ill.
What's happened?
Sheldon Canagieser.
He's not going to. He didn't make it.
One-time member of the Buffalo Sabres.
He didn't make it, huh?
Paul, this is so sad indeed. Sheldon Canagieser.
Hey, you remember? We saw Bruce Smith with that fumble. Marv Levy brought a film into our meeting yesterday. 5 fumbles that the Buffalo Bills have created during the season, and he showed it to his players yesterday. He said, "This is what it'll take to win the ball game." Metzelar's is going off, but he had a film with 5 different fumbles during the year, and he said, "This is what we have to do." They just got 1.
Well, fumbles certainly hurt the Buffalo Bills in that regular season meeting against the Raiders. One in particular by Thurman Thomas. Rocket Ismail. Penalty flag is down. Or was that his mouthpiece went flying? Apparently that's what it was.
His hand warmer.
Good coverage by the Bills. I'd love to see that play on the telescreen.
Would you? The old hand warmer trick?
Yes.
Here it comes. That's James Williams, and this is the man you're going to be watching. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on that little backpack in the back. And out of that backpack, first of all, it smiles down. He's up. Williams hits him, and out comes the backpack. Right here. There's our guy.
Okay. 49 seconds left in the 3rd. Hostetler facing the rush. And that was deflected. So the Bills put the pressure on.
Safety blitz. That time by Henry Jones, number 20. He's going to come off the bottom of the screen, number 20. He doesn't. Here's the guy here. He's going to come in on the inside. And the ball is tipped up front. Now, I don't know if that's Talley or Smith that gets a piece of it. It looks like Darryl Talley right here. He gets a piece of the ball.
2nd and 10 from the 14. 45 seconds remaining 3rd quarter. Hostetler's pass caught by Brown. Tim Brown in the open field. 1 man back. He beats Kelso, and he's in for the touchdown. 86-yard pass reception, and the Raiders have once again taken the lead.
How many teams have you ever heard him say, if you're going to live by a blitz, you're going to die by a blitz? And that time, Nate Odoms was on a blitz, and he's a corner man, and you got Brown. Hostetler gets to the outside. He also has Jet on the top side, who has also had his man beaten, and that's where Kelso was. But Kelso comes out, and it really isn't fair. Here's the safety. with Brown coming down, who was a world-class sprinter, he was at one time, at 60 yards, and then here he comes downfield, and he makes the play. Kelso has really no chance of making the tackle on it. All he's trying to do is hope somebody can catch up, and you're not going to catch Brown.
Raiders by 1. And here is Jeff Jaeger. Whoa! He hit the goalpost.
I told you, there are no gimmies today as far as the special teams are concerned, and we're seeing great special team play. We're seeing... Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the touchdown and watch Hostetler. He's got time, so he moves to the outside, and then he finds Brown. Once Brown gets his man beaten, that's Washington, it's all over. Here comes Nate Odoms. He's not even in the picture because he was in the backfield blitzing. And here's the move that he makes on Kelso. Kelso's hoping he can cut it back so Washington can make the play, but he doesn't. Brown, whoa, here it is again. Look at here. Here's Brown downfield, and once he makes this thing, you can almost say he was gone. You can see how far 37 Nate Odoms was from behind. Here comes Kelso. He has no chance, but it's like a 6 or 7 yard completion and a run for a touchdown. You know who does that better than anybody else? Jerry Rice, John Taylor for the San Francisco 49ers. Hostetler is just elated with what he has done, or what Brown has done.
Well, he has those type of receivers, as we have seen, and particularly in recent weeks with the likes of Tim Brown and James Jett. Willie Gault. So Tim Brown makes it into an 86-yard pass reception for the TD, and the Raiders lead 23-22 with 30 seconds to go in the third.
We're seeing an awful lot of missed extra points blocked. We have had 2 misses and 1 block. Here it is. Gossett is holding the ball. The ball is down. The hold is sideways. You know what happens on a play like this? Look at Jaeger's left foot. Is it far out in front? He just hooks the ball into the goalpost.
Now Jaeger with the kickoff. Russell Copeland on the return. Try to follow his blocker. Able to break a tackle, and then is taken down at about the 29-yard line. Well, that combination of Hostetler and Brown for 86 yards will go into the books, tied for the 3rd longest touchdown reception in the postseason. Looked like Jeff Hostetler suffered a cut on his chin.
Now, you only get injured after the game. You're not allowed to get injured during the course of the game.
18 seconds remaining in the third. Intended for Keith McCallum, the backup tight end, who was covered by Winston Moss.
I know Washington slipped. He didn't get hit. He's up laughing. He says, I'm okay.
It'll be a 2nd and 10 at the 30. Again, it's McCallum. Joe Kelly on the coverage. And as McCallum makes that catch, we will tell you that Pete Metzelaars is out the rest of the way because of a hand injury that passed on from the Buffalo sideline. So bad news for the Bills. That's the end of the third. We'll be back after these words from your local station. Back in Buffalo, New York, Marv Albert with Paul McGuire. Look at the line score in a wild one. It's been a terrific game. Raiders 23, Buffalo 22 as we head to the 4th quarter. The winner goes on to play for the AFC Championship. Look out! Bad snap. Kelly thought he covered up, and now it is finally covered by Brooks.
Well, if this play goes, it's going to be offside the Raiders, and it'll be first down the Buffalo Bills because it was 3rd and about 3. They didn't blow any whistle. The question is, did anybody move in the line? Offside Raiders, it'll be a first down Bills. Nolan Harrison, number 74, was one of them. Harrison and Long, both guys, both tackles offside in the middle. Here they are, this guy, this guy.
75 on the defense, 5 yards, first down.
I think they're both offside. You know, Mark, when you look at it, I don't know if it's cadence or not on this thing, but I just think that they're so anxious to try to do things that they're in a hurry to try to get to Kelly and to create something and stop Thurman Thomas from getting the ball. But I mean, Thurman Thomas is getting up slower and slower. Ken Hall went to help him up. Thurman Thomas shrugged him off.
Thomas making the catch on first down, picking up 5. That's his 6th catch of the day. It'll be a 2nd down and 5. Buffalo at its 47th. Opening minute, 4th quarter. Raiders now have a 1-point lead. Andre Reed with the first down and some more. And taunting from Ricky Dixon had some words after that tackle. 18-yard advance.
Andre Reed gets up limping. Look at this in the slot. He just gets by McDaniel, Terry McDaniel. They released him inside, and Dixon, Ricky Dixon, 31, makes the hit. Andre Reed is limping back to the outside.
It has been an injury hit season for Reed. First down for the Bills. Oh, big hit on Thomas. A slashing tackle by the combination of Dixon and Jones.
You know,
like Dixon shaken up.
Yeah, Dixon ought to get up real quick because he's the guy that taunted Andre Reed. Watch this hit by Dixon. Here goes. It looks like Thurman Thomas coming to the outside. Ricky Dixon hit, bounces off. He's back up. He's playing.
And now Thurman Thomas to the Buffalo sideline. Kenneth Davis has come on. Conversation between Reed and Kelly, and then Reed lines up in the slot for the 2nd down and 8. And Kelly able to unload to McCallum. So Keith McCallum has come on and has stepped right in for the injured Pete Metzelar's Lionel Washington making the stop.
Lionel Washington read the play perfectly the whole way, but he couldn't really take a chance at going for the ball. He had to make sure he kept McCallum from getting downfield after he caught the ball. 3rd and short.
3rd and 3 at the 27. Raiders understandably standing by those heaters. Kenneth Davis with the first down. The temperature right now at -2 degrees. The wind chill factor at -26. They say snow later in the day. That's the forecast. Flurries will hit later. It did snow earlier. It has snowed here in Buffalo 28 of the last 29 days. First down at the 24. Davis. Short pickup. Ricky Dixon made the stop, and they're checking out Thurman Thomas, who, as you mentioned, Paul, has taken a pretty good pounding right throughout.
Well, we got a Raider down, too, that's taking a pretty good pounding. I think that's Dixon, number 31. That's the 2nd time he's taken a shot. Thurman Thomas is on the sidelines. They're talking to him.
And a timeout has been called. 12:24 to go in the 4th. Well, this Buffalo crowd urging the Bills on. 2nd and 8 from the 22 for Kelly, who throws for the end zone. Touchdown! Once again, it is Bill Brooks to give Buffalo the lead.
They had Patrick Bates in there, number 29, the Raiders playing in their nickel package or their dime package, whatever one they had in there. And Jim Kelly again had all the time in the world to throw the ball, and Bates does not make a play. Bill Brooks makes the play.
2nd touchdown of the game. And Jim Kelly has been outstanding. 23 for 31, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. Extra points have been an adventure. This one is good.
Jim Kelly on this play here, he just has all the time to throw the football, and that's what offenses try to do with their offensive line. But watch this. When he throws this ball to Brooks, there's Bates, 29. He really has no chance. Washington's behind. Bates should be in front. Now Washington is covering here. He releases to Bates on the inside. Bates just doesn't get there. Watch this. Here comes Bates. Here comes the ball. He doesn't make the play.
So it is now Buffalo 29, the LA Raiders 23. And 12 minutes and 5 seconds remaining, fourth quarter. Marv Albert, Paul McGuire from Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Steve Christie getting set to kick it off. 9 plays, 71 yards, 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Kelly to Brooks to give the Bills a 29-23 lead. Short kick. With a goal with the spin and downed at the 24-yard line.
Marv, the last 3 possessions the Bills have had the ball. They had touchdown, field goal, touchdown. The last possession that the Raiders had the ball, touchdown. So much for cold weather, hampering the offenses. Look at the Bills, you know, when you take a look at the first half, second half in total yardage, but the Bills in the first half, they had 102 yards. You see that? In the third quarter, they had 137 yards.
Now Hostetler, and the Raiders start from their 24. Hostetler 12 of 17, 222 yards, 1 touchdown. Hostetler to Brown, who went for the touchdown on an 86-yard pass play that momentarily gave the Raiders the lead until that touchdown a moment ago from Kelly to Brooks.
Hostetler's just taking some pages from the Buffalo Bills. Here's Brown, a little short pass on Washington. Washington's going to give you that. It's about a 4 or 5 yard gain. Brown tucks away the ball, second down and 5.
And for Brown, his 5th catch of the day, 127 yards, having another excellent day. Of course, that helped by the 86-yard touchdown pass reception. Tyrone Montgomery stopped by the combination of Darryl Talley and Cornelius Bennett, and short of the first down. So it brings up a 3rd and about a yard and a half.
And here comes Jett. They have not thrown the ball to James Jett today.
James Jett, the rookie from West Virginia, with tremendous speed. An Olympic gold medalist. He is a burner. But as you mentioned, they have not looked his way.
Well, they got him 1-on-1 outside on Nate Odoms also.
It's back to the ground for Bell, and he's stopped short of the first down. Hanson and Talley made the tackle.
Darryl Talley shot the gap. Phil Hanson picked up the play on top of it. But Darryl Talley is the guy that made the play. Now the Raiders are going to have to punt the ball away again. Or are they? Yeah, they're going to punt it.
That's Jeff Gossett.
Well, they're looking for the Raiders want a measurement here. Boy, this is an awfully good mark. But it looks like the ball has to get to the other side of the 34-yard line.
Well, they are short. So Gossett will punt away. Archell glancing at the clock, 10:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. The Buffalo Bills with a 29-23 lead on the Los Angeles Raiders.
Marv, this clock doesn't mean a thing in this ball game right now because the Buffalo Bills, they have that K-gun, that hurry-up offense. What they got to worry about is don't look at the clock. You got to look at your defense and figure out a way to stop the Buffalo Bills, because if they put another touchdown up on the board, you're going to have a tough time beating this team.
5th punt of the day for Gossett. Line drives to Copeland. And carried out of bounds across the 20. That will go down as a 47-yard punt.
Fourth back in Buffalo. I just saw Pete Metzelaars in the locker room. He had a compound dislocation of the little finger on his left hand. The bone actually broke through the skin. They reset it, stitched it up. He said he did not know whether or not he could continue to play. Marv?
All right, Chris, and Keith McKellar, who has come on for Pete Metzelaars, makes the catch, stopped by Winston Moss and Mike Jones. 3rd catch of the day for McKellar.
And Thurman Thomas, we found out he has a slight concussion. Don't know if he can return in the ball game.
2nd down and 3 from the 25-yard line. It's Kenneth Davis to the outside. Davis replacing the injured Thurman Thomas, and he brings it to the marker at the far side of the field.
You know, with Kenneth Davis in the ball game, they really don't lose a lot. You know, everybody talks about the great Thurman Thomas and all the yardage he gets both catching the ball and running with the ball. But this young man here gives him 100% every time he's in the ball game. And again, I said before, he knows his role, and that's behind Thurman Thomas. And when they put him in, he loves to play.
And Davis picked up the first down at the 29. Now Kelly off the short set. Throws the bullet to Brooks. He fumbled, or was he down? Let's see how they rule it. Dorn made the stop. Well, apparently he was down, and the ball is brought back to the 39-yard line.
Again, I was talking about looking at the clock with Art Shell. Forget about the clock. You got to figure out a way to stop these guys. Here it is. Brooks is going down. He runs about a 7-yard pattern, then picks up another or 6-yard pattern, picks up another 2 or 3 yards, and they're almost in first down range. They're going to measure this thing, but you've got to get up on these guys, and what they've got to do is get some heat on Kelly. If you let Jim Kelly stand back there and throw the ball, he'll have a 300-yard game. He had 253 going into this series of downs.
And it is a Buffalo first down. Strong game for Bill Brooks, making his 6th catch. Jim Kelly, 15 of 21 in the second half. Hey, 10 of 12 is not bad, but obviously he's gotten more accomplished with 173 yards and the 2 touchdowns to Brooks. 8:40 remaining in the 4th quarter. Kelly on first down, hit from behind, and he is hauled down. Anthony Smith. Apparently Fina, off the fake, was able to come up with it.
The ball gets knocked loose, and it ends up in Fina's hands. And look at these guys, nothing shakes them. They're still in the hurry-up offense. Here goes Kelly, first down.
I want to get another look at that play. Kenneth Davis on the carry, stopped by Winston Moss. All right, here it is now.
All right, Kelly's hit from behind by Anthony Smith, and the ball bounces back into Fina's hands. He just takes the ball and goes down and picks up a first down.
Nice run by the left tackle, John Fina.
Like the way he tucked that thing away.
Bills by 1. Movement on the line. Howie Long jumped. Let's see if he was drawn.
You know, Howie Long has got to settle down. What Howie Long is trying to do is make something happen by himself. You don't do that.
Before the ball is snapped, encroachment, number 75, 5 yards, touchdown!
Defenses as a unit make things happen. Individually, you don't do that. Here he is. He's over the center. There's no movement. Why he's offside, I don't know. This is the 4th time in this ball game. You've got to play the defense, but I think they're going to have to put some blitzes in.
It's a first down at the 38-yard line. And Kelly's pass intended for Andre Reed broken up.
Terry McDaniel, number 36, in on the play. First time they've had coverage. They're going short on the play, but I mean this. I think the Raiders, they're not even getting close to Kelly, really, with a 4-man rush. They've got to send some people in his face, at least fake a blitz.
It's a 2nd and 10 at the 38 with 7.5 minutes remaining, and a fumble. Well, Jim Kelly able to cover up.
You know, that time they actually had a blitz called, the Raiders. Watch Joe Kelly, 57. He'll turn around and he sees the ball, but not because the ball never gets off the ground back to Kelly. He gets the ball, but actually Joe Kelly was in a blitz formation.
Things getting a little sloppy for the Buffalo offense. 3rd down, 15, deep drop, setting up the screen, and Davis bobbled it. It is ruled incomplete.
Boy, that time the Raiders came, and they came again with Joe Kelly, number 57. They put some heat on Jim Kelly, and that's what you really have to do. They come right up the middle with it. Howie Long is moving. Devlin comes over to help out, and look at the force. Howie Long is there. There is Joe Kelly, 57. Davis, the ball hits him in the hands, but the tackle by Mike Jones keeps Davis from getting the ball. The Bills have to punt.
Chris Moore back at his 43, 3rd punt of the day. Tim Brown let it go. And it carries out inside the 5. A beautiful punt, but a penalty marker is down.
It's against the Bills.
Holding, number 55 on the offense. 10 yards, still 4th down.
I'll tell you, this talk about benefiting a team. That ball was out of bounds at the 4-yard line, and Mark Maddox is the left up back on this formation, and they get him for holding. Maddox is sitting right in here. Here comes the blitz. That's Hoskins. That's a takedown. That's when you do wrestling, you'll know what that is. That's a takedown.
I don't think I'm planning on it, Paul.
Wait, you do everything else,
Yeah.
don't you?
Moore will punt from his 33-yard line. And again, Brown is back. Brown took a good shot as he crossed the 25-yard line. A 34-yard punt and a 6-yard return.
From the 26 for Los Angeles.
Here from Buddy Ryan and Marcus Allen, that's coming up following the game. First down from the 26. Hostetler goes sideline, only a short pickup, combining with James Jett, covered by Nate Odoms.
Nate Odoms, all-pro guy, going to the Pro Bowl. James Jett on the outside. I think he respects his speed. Look at this. Nate's giving him a 10-yard cushion. But he's just sitting there, a little short stuff. That sets it up to go deep, but I don't think Nate Odoms is going to buy it. He's going to stay back. If you're going to beat Nate Odoms on today's game, you're going to beat him short. You're not going to beat him deep.
Only the first reception for Jett. Raiders at one point led 17-6 in the second quarter. Game that's seen 5 lead changes. Now Hostetler going deeper, almost intercepted. Or is it? Let's see. No, it looked like he short-hopped it.
You know who was covering him? Cornelius Bennett covering James Jett. They even lined up on James Jett. Cornelius Bennett almost made the interception. Now, I know Cornelius Bennett is fast. We know James Jett is fast, but I don't know if Cornelius Bennett is that fast. Here comes the ball down. Look at this. Cornelius Bennett downfield. The ball bounces back up inside. There's no chance, but that was Cornelius Bennett covering James Jett.
And Paul, Jeff Hostetler has been intercepted only one time the last 7 games. Bills 29, Raiders 23. It's a 3rd and 7. Look out, Hostetler is taken down by Bruce Smith.
Well, Bruce Wilkerson was blocking, and that chant, Bruce, was not for Bruce Wilkerson. It was for Bruce Smith. Here they come. Total, is this a mismatch? Look at this. That arm swing around. Wilkerson needed some help. Didn't get any. Bruce Smith makes the play. Outstanding.
Second sack of the day by Bruce Smith. 6 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. And Gossett back to punt. Copeland waits at his 40. Line drive kick again. It is only a 29-yard punt. Buffalo Bills will return to the offense. Well, with that last sack by Bruce Smith, his 2nd of the game, he has now emerged as the all-time leader in postseason play. 11 sacks in 14 games.
And here's a situation where the Raiders realistically have to stop the Buffalo Bills on the first series of downs here. They cannot let them get a first down, because if they do, the Bills are going to be able to really run the clock out.
First down at the 43. Read at the top of your screen. Beebe split to the left. It's Davis replacing the injured Thurman Thomas. Picked up 2, gets to the 45. Mike Jones had the wraps on Kenneth Davis as Thurman Thomas Right now the Bills are going with a combination of Kenneth Davis and Carwell Gardner.
Now you can do some replays because they're going to slow it down. It's the only time you can do replays on the Bills when they're ahead in the fourth quarter and they're trying to kill the clock, and that's exactly what they're doing. But the Raiders are bringing 7 guys up onto the line of scrimmage. They are now blitzing people.
Paul with such a production sense, helping out the guys in the truck. It's Gardner stopped at the line by Winston Moss.
Nice read by Winston Moss. Play action, a little bootleg by Kelly to throw out to Carwell Gardner. Here it is. Little fake. Play action, bootleg back. Fina's there blocking, and watch Winston Moss. Gardner catches. Washington's there, and then Winston Moss also with the play. Washington's the guy that really stood him up for Moss to make the play.
It is spotted as a 3rd down and 6. Jim Kelly, 26 of 36. Looking at 4:20 remaining fourth quarter. There's the movement. Penalty markers down, and Kelly completes to Brooks for a 1st down. But let's see what this flag is about.
This time they stopped it before the play started. Howie Long again was the man that's involved.
The encroachment. Number 74 on the defense before the stop. 5 yards.
Well, they get Harrison and Howie Long. Harrison may be the guy that pulls Howie Long off over the top of the center. Can I do this? Here's Harrison. Here's Long. They're both going to go. Look at Howie's first. Number 75, Howie Long, is the first guy through, but Harrison is the guy that makes contact.
And penalties have hurt the Raiders here today. 9 for 77 yards. Buffalo only 2 for 15.
And again, you know, we talked to Art Shell about this, and he said, you know, the things that, the mental ones we can correct, because we asked him about 17 penalties last week, and if you're watching Art Shell and read his lips right there, he says, watch the ball. I mean, you got the 2 tackles that are over the ball. Look at the ball.
3rd and 1. Slashing move by Davis. A 1st down.
And John Davis is getting up slow. I mean, you think about this hurry-up offense, the K gun of the Buffalo Bills, and they say, you know, it tires out the defense. It also tires out the offense. I don't care what anybody says. You're talking about these guys are trying to breathe down there. It's -2 degrees. They're trying to get their breath. Now they're going back into the huddle. But these guys have been moving all game long.
Offensive line of John Fina. Howard Ballard at the tackles. Glenn Parker, John Davis at the guards. Kent Hull is the center. Here's Kelly moving out of trouble. And then hit down at the 46. Townsend and Jones combined on the tackle.
Yeah, Townsend trying to take Kelly's head off. Jones makes the tackle, and Townsend comes around and tries to rip Kelly's helmet off. Here goes Kelly to try to run a screen out to his left. That screen is covered. Kelly goes up. Jones makes the play here. Now watch Townsend, 93. Let's try to rip his head a little bit. Kelly ducked out of the way, but the clock is running. We're going inside 3 minutes.
2nd down and 10. Again, the rush. Davis off the screen. Kenneth Davis put the speed on and has a Buffalo 1st down. He went for 17 yards.
When I told you about Kenneth Davis, and he gives you 100% all the time, and that's all you can actually give is 100%. Kenneth Davis, he again knows his role. This play was a little slip pass out to Kenneth Davis. This is a screen. Watch this. He sets up in the middle. Here's the screen. The lineman release. But here's the move that he makes. Back to his right and just outruns the defense. Stays inbounds. Most importantly, stays inbounds.
Buffalo with a 29-23 lead. Moving ahead on a go-ahead touchdown as Kelly hit Brooks. And now Davis seeing the bulk of the action as he runs to the 25-yard line. And we approach 2 minutes remaining. Raiders take a timeout. They stop the clock with 2:06 to go in the 4th. Bills took over with 5:42 remaining in this 4th quarter at their own 43, and they have held onto the ball. Jeff Hostetler coming out in most unusual fashion during the timeout. The quarterback is out to try to spark the defense.
Well, and you know, you can imagine what he says. We don't know what he said. He'll tell everybody afterwards. But because they said, look, stop these guys, get the ball, and we can score. We've got enough firepower to score. We need you to stop it. And that's something that they haven't been able to do in the second half. They have really not slowed down the Buffalo Bills.
Bills 29, Raiders 23. And once again, Kenneth Davis gets the call. Short of the first down, 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment. 6 years, the Buffalo Bills have led the NFL in attendance, averaging more than 77,000 per game, despite the -2 degrees temperature today. This is almost a packed house. And Davis has the first down. 61,923 on hand here at Richard Stadium, and they have seen the Buffalo Bills come from behind, down 17-6 in the second quarter. 5 lead changes throughout the day, and the Bills have a 29-23 lead, a minute and a half remaining in the fourth quarter, and they now have a first down at the Raider 17.
You know what's amazing about it? In the first half, the Raiders had 14 first downs, and the first downs don't count as touchdowns. They have 15 total. They have 1 first down in the second half. Now, that 86-yard touchdown run with Brown, that's considered the first down. They have 1 first down. The Buffalo Bills defense, they have done a job along with the offense.
And a timeout is called with 1:08 remaining fourth quarter.
The Buffalo Bills just have to put the ball down, take a knee twice, and the Raiders can take 1 more timeout. They have 4 downs. This game is over.
Raiders took a long time before calling for that timeout. A lot of time running off.
Well, the question is, they were fighting. The Raiders were fighting on that last play. They thought they had a fumble on the play, and they didn't have one. Anthony Smith had the ball in his hand. They were talking to the referee, saying we had a fumble, that Kenneth Davis fumbled the ball, which he didn't do, and they just let the clock run down, whether they didn't pay attention to the sideline and look over there. I mean, the coach calls a timeout. Now take a look at this at the end of the play. Now here goes Davis up inside. Hit there, long hits him. Anthony Smith goes down. Now Davis is tackled. There's the ball on the ground. It's not a fumble. But what happens is that Anthony Smith grabs the ball. And the Raiders are all standing around, think they got a fumble. They didn't have one.
So first down at the 17, and Jim Kelly kneeling down. Timeout stops the clock with 1:04 remaining. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. We thank our producer of today's game, David Deal. Today's game directed by Richard Klein, the associate director, Jeffrey Simon, production associate Bill Herbstman, technical director Phil Doucette, production manager Sally Hughes, Kathy Crowther, technical manager Bill Paranello, our statistician Mr. Stats himself, Elliot Kalb. The coordinating producer of the NFL on NBC is John Ferrantis, and we thank our spotters Michael Gluck, Steve Solomon, stage manager Colleen Brennan. A 1:04 remaining in this fourth quarter, and the Buffalo Bills on their way to going on to host the winner of tomorrow's Kansas City-Houston divisional playoff. So the Bills take another step in the direction of a 4th trip to the Super Bowl.
And when you look at the Raiders, and one of the things that we talked about before, you know, 17 penalties last week, a lot of penalties in this ball game. A couple of them gave automatic first downs to the Buffalo Bills in drives on third down situations. I mean, just a lot of mistakes by the Raiders. The Raiders dominated the first half, but there's 60 minutes of football. The Buffalo Bills took the second half and just destroyed the Raiders.
Jim Kelly, 27 for 37, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. A superb afternoon. The Bills go to 7-0 in playoff games here at Rich Stadium. And for the Los Angeles Raiders, who had a splendid season, it is now concluded. They had won 5 of the last 6. They go 10-6 in the regular season, but Buffalo will move on, and they will face the winner of tomorrow's game between the Chiefs and the Hot Oilers. Time has run out. The Buffalo Bills coming from behind, and they have defeated the Los Angeles Raiders 29-23. Hope you stay with us on the post-game report. Today.
He defines the position period. Arguably the richest talent ever woven into the Super Bowl tapestry. 4 rings are proof. And now this legend, Joe Montana, spirals again toward that super summit. It's been 3 years since he was one step away from football's grandest stage. A devastating hit, one of so many over so many years, ended that drama and perhaps should have ended this slender warrior's career. Joe Montana never touched the ball again in a meaningful moment for the 49ers. At age 37, he defines a new quest in a new place. Montana has brought Kansas City touches of his past glory. So accurate, so valiant, but now in a suspect body.